Now we're working. I apologize. I thought I hit the go live button and I guess I didn't. So I was talking to myself for like 6 minutes, which is not unusual. I talk to myself a lot, but I thought I was talking to everybody else. So I apologize. So everybody today, you can call me an idiot today because today I was an idiot. But I'm Seth. This is the Conservative Corner. Thanks for bearing with me with the issue I had by not hitting the button that clearly said go live. I didn't hit it. I'm used to being on fascist books, so this is all kind of new to me. So just bear with me. I apologize. A little bit about me. My name is Seth Eisenberg, and I promise I know how to work a computer. It just doesn't show like it does today. This is a Conservative Corner. I'm a 52-year-old blue-collared, hard-working dude that's struggling like everybody else out there that got tired of it. I got into politics locally back in 2018 when I ran for the local school board where I live. Of course, I didn't win because I am a conservative, and as we all know, education is just permeated with liberals and other weirdos. But I stuck with it. I'm now the vice president of a club in Frederick County, Maryland called the Frederick County Conservative Club. Really great club. If you live local to Frederick County, check us out. But now I'm here and want to talk. And I hope you want to listen. And if you don't, that's cool. And I want to get something perfectly straight right up front. I don't expect everybody to agree with me on everything I say all the time. I do not expect that. If you don't agree with me, that's fine. Tell me why you don't agree with me. Maybe I'll learn something. Or maybe we can talk and we can both learn something. But I don't expect everybody here to follow me blindly and just go, hey, Seth is always right. Seth is perfect. I don't want that. And I don't think you want that either. So, yeah, you have a question about something I say or you want to add something, please make a comment. If I can respond to it, I will. And if I don't, I'm not ignoring you. I just didn't see it or I'm in the middle of a conversation. I'm also very scatterbrained, and you're going to see this throughout this episode and moving forward. I like to talk, but I also like to go, oh, look, a squirrel. And I will jump subjects all the time. And I apologize, but I've got notes now, so I'm trying to stay with my notes. But again, please feel free to ask questions or anything you want to do. So without further ado, and no more button pushing that I should have pushed but didn't, let's get into it. So earlier this week, we all know who Antifa. Oh, I also was in the Navy, so I do cuss sporadically throughout my posts or throughout my podcast. So please, if you have little ears around you, earmuff them or go to another room. And I don't do it that much, but I do it enough to where I don't want your kids going, oh, he said a bad word. And then you have to explain to them, well, he was a sailor, and sailors are just that. They're just crazy people. So if you have to move kids, that's fine. If not, that's fine. It's your home, your house, your kids. Not telling you what to do, just giving you a heads up. So Antifa, I believe it was in LA earlier this week, went to hassle a synagogue about Israel and what Israel's doing. And in their typical bored rich white kid fashion, they were running their mouths and causing some stuff. And the police were there because they have to come out when those morons are out because they like to cause problems. And there were some Jewish people who showed up that started giving the Antifa the business, which I love because Antifa is usually the ones causing the issues and all that. So during the course of this back and forth, the Jewish people were getting very close. And I guess they're getting aggressive, and rightly so, because that's what Antifa normally does when they're there. They cause the problems. They want to start the fights and pick on people. But in this situation, it was a reverse. The Jewish people were like, yeah, welcome to our town. And they started screaming and fighting and pushing back. One of the Antifa guys, he gets, I don't want to say busted up, but he gets shoved around pretty good, which I wish it would have been more. But he kind of gets away and goes to the police officer. You can see him like, are you going to do anything? And the cop just kind of looks at him and goes, and looks the other way. And I could not stop laughing when I saw that video. It was the funniest thing I see. And not because, someone's breaking the law and getting away with it, but because someone's breaking the law and getting away with it involving someone who normally does that and gets away with it, who usually gets to do things and they get to walk away because the cops don't do it. So I guess he was a little upset that in this case, the cops weren't helping him. And it kind of escalated. They ripped off his mask and his hair was in a man bun, and they pulled that out. And he kind of skittered out through the police officers. There was a few more morons that were with Antifa in the crowd that eventually got out and escaped unscathed, unfortunately. Now that we're on the subject of Jews, I have a Jewish background. My last name is Eisenberg. It couldn't be any more Jewish if my last name were Israel. So I am Jewish. I fully support Israel. So if you're here thinking I'm going to go, oh, the Palestinians or the Gazans I'm so sorry to hear they're getting, bombed. I'm not going to do that. Is it good to hear people dying? No, war is hell. I don't approve of war. I would hope that people try to avoid it at all costs because it is horrible. But once a war is started, it becomes a different thing. Once you start a war, you don't get in a war to lose it or kind of halfway finish your goals. You get into a war to win it. And the way you win a war is by killing the enemy. You don't win it by handing out loaves of bread or hugs or handshakes or kisses. You get it by putting lead in people's heads. That's how you win a war. And it's horrible, like I said, and it's unfortunate. But I back Israel 110% in anything they do. They didn't start this war. They didn't ask for this war. But they're going to finish this war. And the way I describe it to people who are like, well, why are they're more advanced than, Gaza and Hamas. Why are they doing what they do? This is how I explain it to them. Imagine you're in high school middle school, and you're on the playground. And there's a bully who's 5 foot tall and 90 pounds. And that little bully decides he's going to go pick on the 6'3", 220-pound football player on the other side of the playground. So he walks up and he hits him. And the bully turns around and says, that's ridiculous. And he hits him back, but doesn't stop hitting him. And at that point, the bully goes, no, stop. You got to stop now. You're winning. I want you to stop. But the bully goes, no, you started this fight. You don't get to decide when it's over. I get to decide when it's over because you attacked me. That's how I describe Israel and Gaza. A little guy picking on a big guy. All of a sudden, the big guy starts kicking his ass, and now he wants it all to stop. That's not how it works. You know how you avoid that? You don't pick on the big guy that's going to kick your ass. That's how you avoid that whole situation. And then the rest of the world telling Israel how they can defend themselves need to shut up. I'm sorry, but let them do what they got to do. I think Israel's being very restrained in their response. I mean, if they were purposely going out to kill civilians like everyone's trying to make it sound like, there would be more than, 37, 38, maybe 40,000 dead now. There'd be hundreds of thousands of them dead. They're doing everything they can to avoid, collateral damage. But when you're fighting an enemy that uses civilians as shields, you really leave Israel no choice. They've got to do what they got to do. It's not so much, like I said before, that Israel is killing people. It's more that Hamas is putting them in harm's way. That's the best way to do it. So, yes, I'm pro-Israel. I will never back off of that. I will always support them. I'm a big believer in looking, learning from history. And if we look back at history, the last time the Jewish people ignored something and said, it's not that big of a deal, we lost millions and millions of Jews because we didn't want to react. We didn't want to be those people. And I think they've learned it. Like I said, or Israel's motto is never again. Never again's now. So let's leave them alone. And speaking of that, Biden telling them what they can and can't do while he won't even try to rescue our people from Hamas is beyond embarrassing. Israel's done more to rescue our American people who are being held hostage than Biden has. So he just needs to be quiet. I mean, that's embarrassing. So embarrassing. But hey, the guy's got dementia. I'm surprised he can put his pants on. But that's how it works with him. So let me take a really quick break. Got to pay the bills here, and I will be right back.
Born in the coastal plains of South Texas, Smoking Gun Coffee is founded by combat veterans that know exactly what a cup of coffee needs to taste like. Run by father and son, each coffee bean is perfected, roasted at 500 degrees, and cooled with a Gulf Coast breeze. Smoking Gun Coffee hand makes and bags each ounce of coffee for maximum customer satisfaction. With every purchase, 10% goes back to organizations that help veterans and local communities. That's Texas made, one bag at a time. To find out more, go to www.smokingguncoffee.com.
So yeah, it's a veteran-owned company. If you like the taste of conservatism, I have my own coffee brand with them. It has the conservative corner label on it. I'll post that later. You go there and buy you some and wake up to the sweet, sweet smell of conservatism every morning. But I'll post that on my page. So back to what I was saying about Israel. Like I said, Israel, they need AB. Oh, hey, I was RM2. Oh, I'm sorry, RM3. It was an RM3, third class petty officer on the USS Guadalcanal. I don't even think they have that rate anymore. See, I told you I jump around. There's a squirrel. Sorry, but yeah, I was RM2, RM1. Gosh, RM3 on the USS Guadalcanal LPH-7 out of Norfolk. But yeah, so yeah, I am pro Israel. I am pro any country defending themselves. I don't think there should be a limit on what you do if you're attacked. If you're attacked, do what you got to do. Protect your people. I don't care what you have to do. You do what you got to do. So here we go. So let me go back to my notes. I know it's very choppy. It's my first podcast again. I'm sorry. Just got to deal with okay, here we go. Now, we all know Kamala Harris is out there trying to prop up the demented or the mentally deficient commander-in-chief. She's been trying to, rally the troops, get them all ready for her. So we have some clips of her this week going around. I think she was in the Midwest this time talking to people about the benefits of another Biden term. So we got some highlights, I think of like 5 or 6 stops she made. And I want to show these to you, and then we'll talk about them after you see them.
Wow. Why are conservatives bad, Mommy? Because I thought we were supposed to conserve things. I couldn't reconcile it. Now I can.
As you can see, she was really busy talking to a lot of people. Some of those were outside when she was doing her campaign stops. I mean, let's be honest. If anybody, I'm serious, somebody tell me, what has she done in the last 3.5 years as vice president? What has she accomplished? I forget she's alive most of the time until I see one of her moronic cackling like a hyena on some news program or some campaign stop talking about something nobody cares about. I don't understand why they would send her, of all people, out to talk about the Biden administration. They could send out a chair and it would convey more about what the Biden administration's accomplished than her. She's a moron. She is a flat out moron. And all she does is laugh. And it's not even like a cool laugh. It's like a laugh you'd think some like Hannibal Lecter would have. Some now it's the world. But yeah, so she's out there in the Midwest talking about reproductive rights is her big thing, because everybody knows when we repealed Roe versus Wade, that means you can never again have an abortion, which is all bullshit. And in case you didn't know, and I'm sure everybody watching this is smart enough to understand, but just in case someone watches it and doesn't know, all Roe versus Wade did was remove the federal government from that decision process. That's it. And put it back to the states where it should have been in the first place. I don't want the federal government to tell me what I can and can't do when it comes to my body. And you would think everybody would be behind that because now it can be changed easier if it's in the states and with the federal government. But people like Camilla, I cackle like a hyena, Harris, and other liberals have twisted it and convinced people that it means now they're all illegal. Everywhere you go, it's illegal. It's not. There are some states that will never make it illegal, that will never ban abortion. Like Maryland, where I live, will never, ever restrict abortions. It doesn't matter. So there will be states that say, hey, look, we'll only allow abortions if the mother's in dire need of dying, incest, or rape. And there are states like Maryland that say it doesn't matter. If it's a Tuesday, you can get an abortion. So it doesn't affect it as bad as the Democrats are trying to make it seem, and they keep harping on it. The problem is, and I'm not trying to insult anybody, but most liberals don't have the IQ of a houseplant, and they believe everything a politician tells them. So when Kamala Harris, between cackling, says, oh, by the way, the Republicans are going to make abortions illegal across the country, people believe that because it's easier to believe something you're being told than it is to look it up for yourself and find out if that's fact or not. And that's why I tell everybody who watches my podcast or my fascist book lives or you guys, just because I say something, please don't take it as gospel. Look it up for yourself. I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, please tell me, because I don't need help making myself look like an idiot. I do that pretty good on my own. So correct me if I'm wrong. But liberals don't like to look anything up. They don't like to verify anything. If a Democrat politician tells them that bull crap tastes like chocolate pudding, they believe it. They're not going to look. They're just going to start spooning in their double fisting it into their mouths. Don't be like a lib. Look up things. But yeah, she also has 50 more events planned in battleground states. Personally, I think after that, the debate, it doesn't matter where she goes or what she says. Let's talk about the debate. I'm sure a vast majority of people watching this watch that. It got to the point where if you didn't feel embarrassed for Biden, you probably weren't watching the debate. The man was obviously in over his head. He's obviously suffering from some type of medical condition. I think it's dementia, maybe Alzheimer's. I don't know, but one of the two. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not diagnosing him. It just appears that way. And I think, in my opinion, I think Trump saw it as well and held back. I don't think Trump went at him because I think he realizes, too, that that man's not all there. And to beat on him doesn't do anything. That's a very low bar. I could have out-debated Biden myself. So I applaud Trump's restraint in that. I think it showed a lot. I think that showed leadership and empathy. But I'm not the only person that's really down on Biden. Here are some clips from some people who you would never expect to hear come out against Biden.
It was really hard to watch. And it kind of pains me to say this today, but I think President Biden needs to step down and be replaced.
You do.
If we want to defeat.
And at the end of the day, Joe Biden looks like the caricature that conservative media has been painting. And there were no clips tonight, right? This was, you saw it before your eyes. Look, I don't want to just tell you what I think here, Tom. I've been talking to a lot of leaders in the Democratic Party, electeds, coalition leaders. There's a full-on panic about this performance.
And rightly so. Like I said, the man, he was stumbling on his words. He was mumbling again. Most of the time he would look off camera. And I honestly believe, I think he forgot where he was. I mean, you could just look at that face and he was trying to re-comprehend where he was. And he would do that for minutes. It's like he was catching flies. And I don't like to poke fun at the guy because he has a condition, but he puts himself, he doesn't. The people around him put him in the position to be ridiculed. I think the people around him should be arrested and charged with elder abuse. I mean, that's how it is. I'm not excusing what Biden has done as president prior to all this happening to him, or what he did when he was, vice president, and what he did when he was in government for 40 years prior to this, or 38, something like that. I'm not condoning any of that. I'm just saying at this point, that man is done, and he needs to be pulled down. And the people who are propping him up in front of the country to make a fool of himself should be embarrassed. I mean, there's no excuse other than they don't want to give up power. Now, there's a lot of people saying, well, they're doing this because now they can pull him out and they can put in who they really wanted, blah, blah, blah. My opinion is they got to go with the girl they brought to the dance. They can't leave with somebody else. They've invested too much time and too much money in him at this point to where they can't back out. And I think they realize that. And that's why there's so much panic, because if they could do that, they would do it. There'd be no panic. It would be done and over with, and somebody else would be in there. Now, again, I'm not a genius when it comes to this kind of stuff. That's just my opinion. And if I had to guess who they would put in there to replace Biden, I would have to go with Newsom Gavin. I'd have to go with him because he's from California, and all the libs love California, no matter what. California is like their heaven. So that'd be my guess. Some people have talked about Camilla, but she's already talked about she wants to be governor of California. So there you go. There's the thing. But yeah, I think honestly, at the end of the day, they can't afford to replace him now. Literally, they can't. It's about money. It's about money now. They can't just go, oh, we dumped billions on this guy, or at least millions on this guy. Let's pull him out, put somebody else in, and start the whole process over. Like I said, I could be wrong. I don't know. But that's just my humble opinion. But yeah, the man's got to go. He should be enjoying his golden years somewhere, sitting down on a porch in a clean Depends, watching the sunset, and not having to worry about everything's going around him. I mean, I'm surprised his wife allows this to go on. But then again, she's probably involved with it. She's the one probably pushing it. So yeah, the debate was embarrassing. I do believe Trump, I mean, without a doubt, wiped the floor with him. I'm not sure why he even agreed to a debate. I would not be, and another thing, I wouldn't be shocked if the second debate got canceled for some weird reason, scheduling or an illness or blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't be shocked if there's no more debates. I mean, there can't be. That man can't go back out on stage because what little chance he has left will be destroyed if he debates again. He would have to come out and be the world's greatest orator and have all the answers to everything and not stumble, not mumble, not stare. He would have to be on his game 110%. And that might not even make up 50% of this last debate. I don't think they can let him. I don't think they can let him debate again. I think that's too much of a danger. I think that will completely finish off any chances the Democrats would have of winning if they let him debate again. I can't be. Like I said, that's my opinion. But I'm just looking back at the last time they ran against Trump. He stayed in his basement the whole time and ran his campaign from there and had campaign stops with 6 or 7 people there. And somehow they won that one. Yeah, it's that caught me off guard. But yeah, I don't see them letting him debate again. I really don't. And again, my opinion, but I'm just basing it off what I saw this last debate and what I saw the last campaigning time. I don't see how they can. And as much as I dislike the man, I don't think he's a leader. I don't think he's ever been a leader. I mean, he's been in politics since before I was born and hasn't accomplished anything. And now he's saying, I just need 4 more years because the first 44 weren't enough. I need 4 more and I'll be fine. I'll get accomplished then when I want to get done now. No, that's what every loser politician candidate says. You know, I've been in office 10 years, but if you give me 4 more, I'm going to accomplish anything I've said. I'm going to accomplish it all. I'll get it all done then. It's bullshit. That's just losers lament. It's like when I coach football, we had losers limp. Like if you get a pass right in your hands and you drop it, but then you got to limp because, I got hurt, and you kind of limp off the field. Same thing with politicians. I just need 4 more years, just 4 more. I promise you I'll get everything done then. It's kind of like limping off the field because you should have caught it, but you didn't. You should have accomplished what you wanted to accomplish in the first term, and you didn't. So now you're whining and crying and you want 4 more. Doesn't work like that unless you're a Democrat, because like I said, Democrats don't look into anything. They take everything at face value, and then they go. But yeah, the man doesn't need to be around anymore. Like I said, I try not to feel sorry for the guy. I truly, truly don't. But then you watch this and you're like, dude, that's horrible. It's hard to watch. I mean, it's like, dude, you need to sit down. Get the guy off stage. Get him some pudding or whatever it is, ice cream, and like let him watch Murder, She Wrote. Just something. Get him off. Let him relax. Let him enjoy being an old man. Stop beating him up. But then you say something stupid and you're like, screw it. Make fun of him. I don't know. And again, yeah, I agree. With Lone Star Man, I think Trump did it to expose. And I agree. And I think Trump played it perfectly. He didn't attack him. He really didn't jump on him like he's done in the past because he sees the man for what he is now. He's a shell of who he used to be, and he's got issues. So there's no need to dogpile on that. And you got to remember, people look at Trump and don't think chess player. But keep in mind, Trump also endorsed Larry Hogan in my state for senator, even though Larry Hogan has talked nothing but trash about Trump forever. And everybody's like, oh, look, Trump endorsed Hogan. That's going to help him win. Trump didn't endorse Hogan. Trump set a trap. He knows that Hogan is trying to appeal to the Democrats, and that by him endorsing Hogan is going to kill it with the Democrats. And the Republicans already know he's a rhino, so he's pretty much screwed. And it has proven to have worked. He's 11 points down in the polls in my state. I love it. Trump played the bigger man, said, I hope he wins. It'd be nice to see him win. Not a full endorsement. He said it. Hogan's numbers dropped. And of course, Hogan got on TV. I didn't ask for that endorsement. I don't like that endorsement. But it worked. And in this case, Trump did the same thing. He kind of got the questions out there, kind of said what he wanted to say. And all of a sudden, Biden's reacting and getting all flustered. And all Trump's got to do is go, look, this, the man can't even talk. He can't put thoughts together. Why do you want this guy in the White House? I think he did what he wanted to do, and I think it worked. I think like I said, it showed a professional leader with empathy on that stage. He could have dogged that man like it was a holiday, like he was getting paid for it, but he chose not to. He pulled back and stuck to the facts. Don't get me wrong, he threw some zingers out there every once in a while, but nothing can compare to what they used to do. And I think that really helped a lot of people who were on the fence about Trump come to Trump's side. They saw him as a leader, not as a bully. And a lot of people out there who'll say, hey, well, Trump's got a big mouth. He cusses a lot. He, blah, 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 blah. He's a New Yorker. My father's a New Yorker. I have been around New Yorkers all my life, and I can tell you with all honesty, all New Yorkers are the same way. They're all just like Trump. They're very in your face, very brash, very direct, and very to the point. It's not just Trump. It's anybody who's from one of the 5 boroughs. My father's from Yonkers, was a police officer. Sometimes when I hear Trump talk in one of the speeches, I can look at my father. I can almost put Trump's voice in my father's head, and it would be the same exact thing my father would say. Just very direct and very blunt. A lot of people get intimidated or offended by that. But it's not Trump. It's New York. It does something to people. Like if you go to L.A., all of a sudden you want to wear a man bun and eat tofu and walk around barefoot talking about the benefits of CrossFit. Same thing with New York. You get kind of gruff, a little pushy, but that's how it is. So, yeah, I'm going to go out there and say now that there probably won't be a second debate, or if there's going to be a second debate, what they'll do is they'll put more rules and more, clauses and got to do this to the point where Trump won't do it so they can blame Trump that there's not a second debate because he wouldn't do what we asked him to do. That's what I'm thinking. We'll find out soon enough, though. And again, it was like watching a pro football team play a Pop Warner football team. It wasn't even a contest. I don't understand how anybody can sit there and watch that debate and try to tell you that Biden won or he did well. He held his own. And did you see the end of after the debate happened and they had like the camera panning back and they showed them walking off stages? Joe Biden had to help him off stage. He couldn't even make the stairs. I mean, at what point does somebody go, hey, stop doing this to that man? Stop. It's an embarrassment. And that's that's another thing I want to go back with Biden. Putting him on the international stage, the world stage like that, does nothing to alleviate our allies' concerns or put a healthy respect into our enemies, watching that man act. I wouldn't be surprised if North Korea and China and Russia start doing some crazy stuff because now they know the president's in no way, shape, or form ready to respond in anything they do. I think they know that. I think over the next couple of weeks before the elections, they're going to start doing stuff because they know now's the time to strike. Our president doesn't know what he's doing. Our president is sick. Now's the time to do what we want to do because he's not going to be able to stop us. Let's get out there. Let's get Taiwan. Let's push further into the Ukraine. Let's test more missiles if they're in South Korea. Let's do whatever we want to do now because no one can stop us. There's no respect. There's no healthy fear of the president of the U.S. now. And that's another reason why we need to get him out. It's not safe. And that's sad to say, but the man's a danger for all those reasons I listed and more. But those are it. Now my buddy, let me find that one here. We'll go to this one. There's a judge in South Carolina. Where I got that written down? Here we go. Judge Christina Peterson was arrested for assaulting a police officer. And I'm assuming she was intoxicated at the time in a nightclub, and she was a judge. Let me show you that piece of work. Let me find her.
For what? I wasn't cuffed. I wasn't needed. Shut the fuck up. You look like a nigga who was trying to eat on me before, and I never let him. Relax. Shut the fuck up and stop touching me.
Don't.
Yeah, stop touching me. Get the fuck off of me. Stop touching. I got it. I can walk on my own. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. I got it. I can walk on my own. Don't touch me.
You're preventing
Take
that.
me. I could give a damn. Take me where you want to
So
take me.
how do you want me to take you somewhere
now?
expeditiously?
Now. Take me where you want to take me. No! 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 Just let that nigga run on the female. No! He just punched me. Everything for no reason.
I think you get the picture. I don't think I got to show that whole thing. And that's a judge. That's somebody who's to be educated in higher learning institutions. It sits and listens to other people's issues and then decides who's right or wrong. That idiot, it was a judge, apparently the Georgia Supreme Court removed her from the bench and barred her from holding any judicial office in that state for 7 years. So she can't even go to small claims court and be a judge anymore, which is good. And I think when I read, they were also investigating her for other issues prior to this while on the bench, abuses of power and just being an all around, flaming asshole to people. There used to be a time when there were certain jobs got respect. Judges, you respected judges because they were good people. We thought they were good people. They were educated and they were unbiased and they just wanted to do what was right. And then here comes Queen Moron drinking at a nightclub, fighting with police officers, telling them to, get the F off me and I can walk, and acting nothing like a judge should act at all. And they remove her from the bench. Now I want to bet you money at some point, because I think she's appealed this, at some point during the appeal process, race is going to be made the issue. I can guarantee it, because racists, when all else fails, they fall back, oh, it's because I'm black or because I'm gay or because I'm green with 7 eyes. That's why he did this. They just can't accept the fact that they got that done to them because they're idiots and they got held accountable. I can almost guarantee you at some point during this appeal process, that'll come up. I would be shocked if it didn't. I mean, my baby didn't do nothing, things like that. But she's a judge. I got no pity for her. Who knows what she's done to other people, how much she's fined other people, or how much she's sentenced people to, or whatever type of court she sat in. She ruled on people, and I'm sure she screwed people over. So I call this karmic justice. I mean, if you or I even pulled back on a cop, we'd be on the ground. I think they went above and beyond when dealing with her because they knew she was a judge, which I don't think is right. If you act like an idiot, you get treated like an idiot. Doesn't matter what your job is, because obviously you don't care about your job. Why should I care about your job? I'm going to treat you accordingly. So, yeah, she was a judge in Georgia. Makes you feel, it just, I stopped trying to figure out why people do what they do years ago because it would drive me insane. I would get nosebleeds and stuff like that. So I don't even try to figure out what people do anymore. I just look at people and go, you're an idiot or you're pretty cool. It's the only way you can do it. You can't, if you try to figure out why people do what they want to do, again, you're going to drive yourself crazy. And it's not worth it. It's really not worth it. I like Martin Luther King said, judge people based on their actions, not what they look like. And so if you act like an idiot, I'm just going to assume that you're an idiot. Don't need to go any further than that. So, yay, Georgia. Woohoo. I don't get it. Staying in the legal realm here, and I'm going to butcher this name, and I don't mean to. I apologize. The mother of Jocelyn Nungaria, and again, if I mess that up, I apologize. I truly do. She was a 12-year-old girl that was, I believe, raped and murdered by 2 illegal immigrants. She has asked the Harris County, that's in Houston, Harris County DA to seek the death penalty for the 2 subhumans that raped and murdered her 12-year-old daughter. I don't even know why she should have to ask that. That should just be automatic. Hey, if we find you guilty of this, we're going to drag you out back of the courthouse and put 2 in the back of your heads and throw you in a dumpster and send your family the bill for the bullets. I mean, I don't understand why she even have to ask that. I don't. It hurts my heart that she feels that she has to ask for that type of justice. That should be automatic. I mean, I'm a parent. I can't imagine that happening to me if it happened to one of my children. And then feeling like I have to ask for justice. That's just how this country is now. It used to be accountability. Not anymore. It's like, it's not my fault, it's their fault. People are like, well, we have criminals in our country now, so what's the difference? The difference is we don't need to import foreign models. We don't need to import foreign criminals. We have enough of our own. Let us deal with that. Stop allowing these other criminals coming into this country and then trying to make it seem like, well, it's not that big of a deal. We have murderers here too. But the difference is these murderers came to this country illegally and should have been stopped. As a matter of fact, they already had ankle monitors on their ankles because they were caught by Border Patrol after entering the country illegally and being released from custody. So they knew who these people were. There's no excuse, but it falls back on Biden and his administration. Well, I think Camilla is supposed to be in charge of the border. I think that's her thing, right? I think that's what her deal was. And I haven't heard anything about her being there. But yeah, they were known criminals. They had ankle monitors. Should it be mandatory death penalty for rape and human trafficking? Yeah, I think it should be. I think we should bring back public executions. Do it in town square. Let everybody see, hey, if you go kill somebody or you're selling human beings into sex or you raping or doing anything to children, this is what you get. I think we should. I also think that some people that are like serial killers, we should keep alive and study like lab rats. Just keep them alive in a room and study them. See what makes them tick. More valuable to us that way than they would be dead. We can find out why they are the way they are. But yeah, definitely death penalty for rape and human trafficking and murder. And I believe 100% there should be death penalties for anything. Anybody does anything to a child. Anything. I mean, beyond stupid stuff. But if they have physically abuse a child, sexually abuse a child, murder a child, sell children, or any other way harm a child physically, yes, death. I don't even think chemical castration is good. Just kill them. Be done with them. I don't want to pay for anything for anymore. Kill them. I'm sure I'm going to get some pretty nasty emails or texts about that one. But that's the way it goes. That's how I feel. And that's one thing, as you watch me more and more and more, I'm very honest. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, I'm at the age now where if I tell you the truth and that makes you angry, it just kind of makes me giggle. Arizona law states, yeah, that's great. I think we have too many hung juries in this country and not enough hung defendants. It's just my opinion. Too many people walk out of court grinning and not being held accountable because there's too many people that just want to be nice and don't want to be that person. Well, he made a mistake. We should give him a second chance. I'm all for second chances. After you're held accountable for your first mistake, you should get a second chance. I completely agree. But accountability has to start first. And these 2 people that raped and killed that 12-year-old girl should feel nothing but immense pain before their meaningless, useless lives are snuffed out. None of this should be pleasant for them anymore. Their life should turn to hell. They don't get a second chance. I think if you murder somebody, especially a child, if you murder them, you're telling the world that you can no longer function in a civilized society. You don't have the wherewithal to control your emotions. You're an animal, and you forfeit your life. It's really that simple. End of story. End of story. I think it's time to pay the bills again here. I just got to find out where it is. See, I'm new, so this is all going to be real choppy, and I apologize. It will get better as I do this more. And there, I think this is it.
Not believe, no detergent, no hot water, no fabric softener. Now you even threw away all the chemicals to clean your home. I don't need to buy sprays to cut through grease. I don't need to buy window cleaners. I don't need to buy carpet shampoo. I don't need to buy things to mop my floor. I don't need to buy things to take pesticide off my vegetables, fruits, and fish. Oh my gosh, where did this come from? I'll tell you where it came from. It came from hospitals. This is actually a photo of a huge commercial hospital laundry technology that cost in excess of $100,000 if you bought that whole thing, and it'll fill up your garage. That's how big it is. And what we've done with the advent of microelectronic technology, my team and I constantly use microtechnology just like your smartphone. The new EcoWasher SE is a chemical-free laundry and cleaning solution. Imagine, no more detergent, no more chemicals, saves you money, pays for itself, gives you a healthier life, and simplifies doing laundry. And now we're going to include 2 free Thunder Pure Safe Air Minis that purifies your home and sanitizes your surfaces like a thunderstorm in nature, eliminates all odors. Plus, you're receiving $100 off by using code podcast on the new EcoWasher SE. Let me remind you, 2 free Thunder Pure Safe Air Minis plus $100 off during this podcast. Podcast is your coupon code at Eco.
That's a pretty cool commercial. The lightning and the thunder. It's pretty neat. Then again, I'm easily amused. So don't take very much of what I say to heart, because, yeah, William, I mean, we could do a whole show on idiots in positions of power that are murderers. I mean, accountability used to be a thing. It's not a thing anymore. And it's got to come back. It needs to make a comeback, or we're all going to be screwed. I mean, really, it's that bad. Speaking of going on to more idiots in politics, my man Jamal Bowman, one of the squad, just got his butt kicked, which is good because he's an anti-Semite and a racist. I don't like the guy. I hope that's the first of many of the squad members that go, because they're all just really low-life morons that shouldn't be in any position of any authority. I wouldn't let them run the midnight shift at a Circle K in Alaska in the middle of winter, let alone have elected them to office in D.C. But again, they're Democrats. Democrats love racists. They love anti-Semites. They love them. It's horrible how they are. But they're in office, and let's watch a little bit of Jamal in action, so you all, in case you don't know who he is.
We're gonna show them who the fuck we are! We're gonna show them who the fuck we are! Bowman! Bowman! Listen! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
These are the same people that will tell you Trump is dangerous, while they listen to this man scream and curse and yell at people like it's a rap concert and be okay with it. That's why I can't take liberals seriously. Anytime they open their mouth and say, well, that's not a good thing, or that's bad, he's ruining the country, I just think about all the other moron liberals that are out there that are actually doing what they're accusing Republicans and conservatives of doing. And I'm just like, really? Did you say that out loud, or was that meant to be in your head and you were going to like write it down somewhere? Because it makes no sense to me. He's not dangerous. Trump is dangerous. This man is screaming and yelling like a lunatic at the top of his lungs, pounding chairs on the stage, but he's okay. Like I said, I don't try to figure people out. I'm not a doctor, but that man really needs to get his meds up, and he needs some serious couch time, because whatever he's doing ain't working. But the good thing is he's gone. No longer an issue. I'm okay with that. And I hope the rest of the squad follows him out the door. I mean, you got squad members that are flying with the Palestinian flag in their offices in D.C., the pride flag in front of their offices in D.C. but the American flags at the very end, these are prominent. And I can't make this up. And a lot of people go, no, it's not really what's happening. You're making that up. You're just trying to make a name for you. You can look this all up for yourself. There are pictures of this actually going on. The Palestinian flag flying right there in front of their office. AOC running around like she's like high on cocaine or whatever, flipping on the stage, screaming and yelling at people again too. Trans flag in DC. It's what happened to just loving America? What happened to just being happy to be an American? Nobody thinks America's perfect. Nobody. I don't. But you know what? I'll tell you right now, there's no other country in the world I'd rather live in. There's no other country in the world I would rather be at and raise my family in. I'm where I want to be. And that's the great thing about America. Like, the squad doesn't understand it. If you don't like it here, you can leave. You are under no obligation to stay in this country. You can leave it anytime you want to. So they must not hate it that bad. But yeah, there's no other country in the world I'd want to live in. None at all. None. So that's Jamal Bowman, that fucking moron you just saw screaming and yelling and ranting on stage like it was a WWE thing going on. Like I was waiting for like the Undertaker to run out and like clothesline him and start dropping bombs on him. I mean, I was waiting for all that, but it didn't happen. That's just him. As you get to know me and you watch me more, I hope you come back and watch me again. I am big on kids, on education. I'm big on education. I am probably the biggest anti-bullying person you will ever meet in your entire life. I don't like bullies from kids to adults. Don't like it. I am a big champion for kids. Love kids. I got my own. And that even if I didn't, I would still love kids. I think they are awesome. I think anytime you can spend time with children, I think it's time well spent. I think it kind of grounds you. It kind of helps wash away all the BS that life throws on us as an adult. And we can see that what it's supposed to be like, just being happy. So I'm a big kid person. And in South Carolina, they have put in what people are calling one of the most restrictive public school book bans ever. Now, I know liberals like to use the word ban because it makes everything seem, so here's the definition of a ban. A ban is an official or legal prohibition as like banning flavored cigarettes. That's a ban. Removing from, making you unable to get that product, use that product, or see it. That's a ban, complete and total ban. You'll never see it again. And here's what a restriction is. To put a limit on, keep under control. Like some roads will be closed for a parade, but they're going to be reopened. You just can't use them now. So when these people, even in Maryland, there's morons out there that are screaming about book bans. Number one, it's not a ban. They're not saying we need to remove these books from libraries, from schools, from online stores, or if you have them and we need to burn them and be done with them. They are not saying that. What they are saying is in elementary, middle schools, and probably into high school, which I agree with, these books should not be made available to students. That's all they're saying. That is all. These parents can still go down to the bookstore and buy these books and read them to their kids if they so choose. It's just tax dollars shouldn't be used to put books in schools that talk about anal sex and oral sex and hand jobs and things like that. Kids don't need to know that stuff. It's not educational. It's not going to make them a more rounded, better person when they get out. The people who do that for themselves, not for the kids. If my neighbor Johnny has 3 kids and he thinks those books are okay, then by all means, he can read penthouse letters to his kids at night before they go to sleep. It's okay. But I don't want that material available in schools to my child. There is no redeeming value in it. So they are not banning any books. They're removing them. And it goes further than that, which makes the whole argument about banning funny. Apparently, you can only remove these books from your children 5 times a month. So only 5 books a month can you say, I don't want my child to read that book. So if there's a 6th book that comes out, you can't stop it. They get to read it. So that, how you can know that and then still say they're banning books when there's a limit on the books you can tell your kids they can't see or they can't read. And then after that, you have no say in it. It's just the complete opposite of a ban. And number one, I don't like the term opt out. like parents can opt their children out of this or they can opt them out of that. I am not beholden to the government. I am not beholden to the Board of Education. They are beholden to me. So if I don't want my child to do something, he's not going to do it. I'm not asking their permission. I'm not begging them to allow me to let him opt out. I am telling them he's not going to do this. End of discussion. Move on, because you're wasting my time and your time discussing this. I don't like the word opt because it seems like you're giving them giving them some say in how you raise your child. And that's not how it works. And if you have children in schools and you don't like what's going on in the schools, go to these meetings, board meetings, and scream and yell and be heard. Don't sit back and let somebody else do that for you. You have to be your child's advocate. Only you as a parent know what's best for your children. End of story. So yeah, it's not a book ban, it's a book restriction, and those people need to shut up. And maybe they need to go to the library and get some books and read the difference between a ban and a restriction, and maybe they would shut up. I don't. Excuse me. So we're getting close to the magic hour here. Got about 10 minutes left. So want to get a little bit off of politics and talk about something personal. I'm not going to get all mushy on you. Not like that. I don't want to talk about long moonlit walks on the beach while we hold hands and discuss deep, meaningful things. This Thursday is July 4th. It's 248 years this great country's been around. And I know it's a time for families and hot dogs and hamburgers and beers and fireworks, but I just want people to keep in mind, and I wrote this down because it's important. I don't want to forget to say it. We celebrate the courage and determination of our founding fathers, by the way, who would have been referred to as deplorables had they been doing this now. And they declared our nation's freedom 248 years ago to great peril to themselves and their families and anybody associated with them. We also need to honor the sacrifices by all our men and women in uniform since the inception of this country. We have people that have gone to countries that you or I can't pronounce and have forgotten and have died and will never come home again. So we need to respect them for laying down the greatest sacrifice to protect our freedoms and our way of life. Our nation's birthday should be a reminder of how the power of unity, freedom, and how the pursuit of happiness makes this country as great as it is. Like I said, we're not perfect, but there's no other country in this world I'd want to live in, simply because I am guaranteed the right to pursue happiness. They guarantee me that right. No other country in the world does that. So on 4th of July, take a second between hot dogs and hamburgers and beer and soda and fireworks, and just take a second to think about how we've gotten to where we are and what we need to do to move forward. Because if we're not careful, if we're not steadfast in what we do and paying attention, we're going to lose all this. Our kids aren't going to have what we have. This is something that we need to fight for every day. And I don't mean not going out there and hurting people. I just mean fight. Y'all know what I mean when I fight. We need to fight for this country. We need to fight for the Constitution. We need to stand up for our rights, or they're going to take them away from us. So on 4th of July, that's all I'm asking. Between hot dogs, hamburgers, and beer and soda, just take a second to reflect on what we have in this country compared to other countries in the world, and then make a promise that you're going to make sure that what we have, your kids are going to have, and that your kids' kids will have, that they will enjoy what we have for generations, because we're not going to just sit back and, okay, those days are done. Tired of getting pushed around, tired of getting lied to. We're going to stand up and do what's right, not for us, but for our children and their children. That's all I'm asking. 2 minutes. Then you can drink all the beer you want, eat all the hot dogs you want. Just 2 minutes is all I'm asking. So I wish you and your family a fun and safe 4th of July. I enjoy it. Enjoy the time with your family. Enjoy the time off of work. Relax. Have a good time. But give 2 minutes and tell your kids about it too. For 2 minutes, just talk to your kids about, hey, you know what? We started as 13 colonies ruled by England. And look where we are now. We are the example. We are the bar for what a society should be. You can come to this country broke. And then if you have the desire and the want and the heart, you can be a millionaire. No other country in the world can you do that. No one's trying to break into China. No one's trying to illegally enter into England. No one's trying to illegally get into Italy. They're all coming here. They're all trying to get into here. That should tell you all you need to know. And the last thing I want to talk about, which is way off of that, and like I said, I tell you, I'm jumping. I jump. Something comes in my mind, I got to talk about it. I'm a single man, and I've been single for a while. I had a good person, and I did stupid things, and I am where I am. And I know it's hard to believe that I'm single with this winning personality that I have. I know. It's one of those mysteries of life no one will ever know. But there has been a change in dating. And I think, number one, it's society I blame, and more importantly, feminists I really blame. They've told women, hey, you don't need to have a man. You don't need a husband. You can do this all on your own. You can be a single parent. We're going to celebrate that, yada, 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 yada. I'm going to tell you a secret about guys and dating. We're pretty easy to make happy. We just want to help. Like if your husband or your boyfriend's trying to do something for you that you can do, let him do it. Let him. It's not going to hurt. And if a guy has enough intestinal fortitude to come up to you in public and say, hey, how are you? Don't assume right off the bat he's a creeper. He may think you're attractive and just want to talk to you. Give the man a break. It takes a lot to, especially nowadays with the Me Too movement. I mean, if you look at somebody too long, what they can call the police and you get arrested. It's just understand that if somebody likes you enough to say something to you, and it's not, I'm not saying if he walks up to you and goes, hey, I want to take the clothes off. Of course, then run. The guy's a weirdo. But if he's respectful and he wants to talk to you, just talk to the guy. I mean, really, what happened to that? I remember not so long ago, you would go to these places called bars, and they would play music, and people would drink and dance. And sometime during the evening, people would speak to one another. Men would talk to women, women would talk to men. They would leave together, go have breakfast, and start relationships. Now what you do is you go onto these dating sites, you upload some pictures, type a few lines, and think you're going to meet somebody that's worth it. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It does happen. What I'm saying is, what was so wrong with the old way? What was so wrong with just sitting down and talking to somebody face to face, running into somebody in the supermarket and going, oh, wow, hey, how are you? I really like your hair, or I like your dress. My name is Seth. How are you? What's wrong with that? Why is everybody so standoffish nowadays? And again, I'm blaming feminists more than anything. I mean, is there anything wrong with being a single parent? No, not at all. But should you aspire to that? Should that be your life goal, that I want to have kids and no man because I don't need no man? I'm a strong woman. No. That is horrible. That is a horrible idea. That is wrong on so many levels. And there are men who are the same way. And that's horrible. Horrible and wrong on so many levels. So let's make a promise that if you're single and somebody walks up to you and you don't get that Hannibal Lecter Criminal Mind vibe off of them, and they're respectful, then you'll talk to them. Doesn't mean you have to do anything more than talk. You could walk away and never see him again, but let's be civil to one another in those types of settings. Now, let's try to get back to the old ways, because the old ways work much better than what we're doing now. I mean, Christ, there's nothing wrong with someone telling you that they find you attractive. As long as, like I said, it's not that Hannibal Lecter, I want to wear your skin kind of vibe. It's all good. There's nothing wrong with it. You shouldn't be offended. And that goes for men too. Shouldn't be offended. I've had a couple of homosexual guys tell me they think I'm attractive. It doesn't offend me. I don't get all, ooh, I'm not gay. Get mad. Thank you. I appreciate it, but I play for the other team. They were cool. I was cool. Went on about my business. You don't need to get offended. Just take it for a compliment. And then go on about your business or strike up a conversation. And if you're married, you should be married and treat every day like your first date. I mean, have fun, laugh, get along, because there's enough bullshit in life that's going to beat you down and wear you down to a nub. When you're with your wife or with your husband, that should be your safe space. And I hate saying that. That should be the time when you can just let loose, laugh, have fun, giggle, act like high school kids again. And every day should be like that when you're with your spouse. I know it's not practical and I know it's not realistic, but it should be. All right, I've rambled enough. Thanks for hanging out with me on my first podcast. I hope I didn't frighten anybody off. I look forward to next Sunday, the same time. If you have any questions, you can get to me on my X page and ask me there, or I'm not sure. I have a Facebook page, a Conservative Corner. You can go on there and post it. I can answer to you from there. So it was great. I enjoyed myself, minus the hiccups, and I'm glad Eddie was here to help me with that. So thank you, buddy. You are the man. I will name my first male, or not my first male-born, my second male-born child after you. I get Eddie. Those sounds are coming from Eddie, so I don't know when he's doing it. So when it happens, it's just as shocking to me as it is to you. So again, next Sunday, 7 o'clock here. And just remember, if you're watching the Conservative Corner with me, it's always principles over politics, always. Everybody have a good evening, and I'll talk to you all later.